Hey, hey, hey. If you thought Jimin's domination in the K-pop world had already reached its peak, you are dead wrong. Because today, we are talking about something that even the most seasoned observers in the Korean entertainment industry are shaking their heads at, in complete and utter amazement. Jimin, vocalist, dancer, and star of BTS, has just successfully defended his #1 position in the male idol brand reputation rankings for 3 consecutive months in a row. 3 months in a row. And this is not just some ordinary number on a random chart. This is real, tangible proof of something far deeper. Something that almost never happens in an industry that moves as fast and as ruthlessly as K-pop does. So sit back and get comfortable, because we are going to break this all down completely. What exactly is the brand reputation ranking, why Jimin keeps dominating it, and what all of this means for the world of K-pop as a whole? Before we go any deeper, there is one important thing you need to understand first. What exactly is the brand reputation ranking? In Korea, there is a research institution called the Korea Business Research Institute, also known as the Korea Corporate Reputation Research Institute. Every single month, they release data known as the Idol Brand Reputation Index. And this is absolutely not your typical fan popularity poll, where people just click a button for their favorite idol. This is an extremely serious big data analysis. They analyze data on a massive scale. Just imagine, for November 2025 alone, they processed over 67 million pieces of data related to boy group members' brands. Over 67 million. Across 755 actively promoting boy group members. And what exactly do they measure? There are 4 main indicators. First, the participation index. This measures how much consumers and the general public are engaging with the idol's name. It tracks how many people are actively searching for, mentioning, or interacting with content related to that idol. Second, the media index. This measures how frequently the idol's name appears in media coverage, including news articles, TV features, and all forms of press. Third, the communication index. This gauges how actively conversations and discussions about the idol are happening across various platforms, including social media, forums, and online communities. And fourth, the community index. This measures the strength of the fan community and how solid and united the idol's fandom ecosystem really is. All of these numbers are combined to produce a single final score called the Brand Reputation Index. And what makes this ranking fundamentally different from a simple popularity poll is that they also analyze sentiment. Not just how many people are talking about you, but how they are talking about you. Are those conversations positive or negative? Now that you understand the system, when we say Jimin claimed first place, it is not because his fans pressed a vote button the most times. It is because, objectively speaking, his brand is the strongest, the most relevant, and the most positively regarded across the entire male K-pop industry. Now let's look at the specific numbers, because this is exactly what leaves everyone completely speechless. In December 2025, Jimin achieved a brand reputation index of 6,957,990. And this number actually increased by 5.96% from the previous month. His positive sentiment rate? A staggering 92.07%. Nearly every conversation about Jimin on the internet, close to 93 out of every 100 comments, posts, or articles, was filled with positivity and admiration. In an internet world saturated with toxicity and drama, that is an extraordinary achievement by any standard. The keywords most frequently associated with Jimin that month? The names of his songs, Muse, and Who, which continued to dominate streaming charts for months after their initial release. The month before, in November, Jimin recorded a brand reputation index of 4,389,785, representing an increase of 1.82% from October. The breakdown of his figures was detailed and impressive. His participation index stood at 214,933, his media index at 215,174, his communication index at 1,673,039, and his community index at an enormous 2,286,639. Koo Chang-hwan, the director of the Korea Corporate Reputation Research Institute, specifically noted that the keywords most frequently associated with Jimin that month were warm, romantic, and donate, with that last word directly referencing Jimin's philanthropic activities that continue to attract significant public attention. His positive sentiment rate in November? 92.9%. And in October, which marked the very beginning of this 3-month consecutive run, Jimin was already dominating with a brand reputation index of 4,311,257. Consistent, powerful, unshakable. Compare that to his closest competitors. In December, Jungkook, who placed second, recorded 6,401,843, still lower than Jimin. Third place went to IVE's Jang Wonyoung with 6,091,944. In November, Jungkook also sat in second place, followed by G-Dragon in third. And in February 2026, Jimin once again led the pack with 5,369,144 points, with Jungkook in second at 4,811,777, and Jin in third at 3,855,903. The bottom line is clear. Jimin is always at the top, and the gap between him and the person in second place is consistently and significantly wide. But do you know what is even more shocking than 3 consecutive months at number 1? Those 3 months are just a small piece of a much, much larger story. Based on data compiled by fans and research institutions, as of December 2025, Jimin had led this ranking for 35 consecutive months and had claimed the number 1 position for a total of 55 months overall. 55 months. Almost 5 years. And most importantly, Jimin is the first and only K-pop artist to ever reach this milestone. No one has ever come close. This is a record that truly belongs to him and him alone. Think about what kind of consistency that requires. In an industry where trends shift within days, where new groups debut every single month, where competition is absolutely brutal, Jimin has stood at the top for nearly 5 years. And the most mind-bending part? A significant portion of this domination happened even while Jimin was completing his mandatory military service and was not actively promoting new music at all. That is right. You heard correctly. Much of this incredible run happened while Jimin was not even in the public eye in the traditional sense. No concerts, no active promotion campaigns, and yet his name continued to dominate every single brand reputation chart. In fact, as reported at the time, despite being on military service, Jimin claimed the number 1 spot with a brand reputation index of 8.18 million in July 2025, which was actually an increase of more than 17% from the previous month. He was beating out actively promoting idols from the sidelines of military service. How is that even possible? That is exactly what we are going to dig into next. The question that must be running through your mind right now is, what makes Jimin different? Why is it always him at the top? This is not a simple question, and the answer is not simple either. But let's break it down into several key factors that paint the full picture. The first factor is authentic emotional connection. Among all the members of BTS, and BTS itself is already legendary for having an extraordinarily strong connection with their fans, Jimin is uniquely known as the comfort idol. This is not a label anyone manufactured or forced. Fans organically started calling him this because Jimin has a very particular and rare way of communicating with the people who love him. He speaks with genuine sincerity, he listens with real intention, and he consistently expresses just how deeply important ARMY is to his life and his existence as an artist. The result? When research institutions analyzed the keywords most associated with Jimin, what showed up was not just song titles or promotional content. The words that kept appearing were warm, kind heart, overwhelming, and unrivaled. This is not a brand built by a marketing team. This is a brand born directly from who he genuinely is as a human being. The second factor is music with an extraordinarily long shelf life. Jimin's songs have a staying power that is rare even in an industry full of talented artists. Like Crazy, for example, released back in 2023, was still being streamed, still landing on people's playlists, and still going viral on various platforms years after its release. The same applies to Muse and Who from his solo album, which were specifically cited by the research institution as primary drivers of his brand points in December 2025. Good music has the power to transcend time, and Jimin proves that over and over again. The third factor is his philanthropic activity and public character. One thing that consistently captures the attention of not just fans, but the wider public, is Jimin's social work. He is known for actively donating to various social welfare organizations, supporting young people in need, and engaging meaningfully in humanitarian activities. This is precisely why the word donate emerged as one of the top keywords associated with his name in November 2025. In an era when celebrities are frequently criticized for self-serving behavior, Jimin consistently sets a different example, and the public responds to that with genuine warmth and respect. The fourth factor is the ARMY fandom, organized, loyal, and unlike any other. It cannot be denied that one of Jimin's greatest strengths is ARMY, the BTS fandom that is widely recognized as one of the most organized and passionate fan communities in the entire world. But it is not just the sheer number of members. What truly sets ARMY apart is the quality of their engagement. They do not just cheer at concerts. They actively create content, distribute information, support charitable causes in their idol's name, and work diligently to keep conversations about Jimin positive and substantive across every platform. Jimin's consistently high community index is a direct reflection of this extraordinary fandom. The fifth and perhaps most impressive factor is his consistency across all conditions. Jimin remains number one regardless of what is happening in his career. When he is actively promoting, he is number one. When he is on hiatus, he is number one. When he is serving in the military, he is still number one. That is the hallmark of a brand that is built on a genuinely unshakable foundation, not the product of temporary hype or aggressive promotional machinery. Jimin's domination of the brand reputation rankings is not just a story about one exceptional artist. It also reflects something much larger about the evolution of the K-pop industry itself. First, it proves that the solo career power of a boy group member can rival and even surpass the collective popularity of the group itself. This is a trend that continues to grow in K-pop, one where the individual brand of each group member becomes increasingly critical. An artist who successfully builds a strong solo identity will endure far longer in this industry. Second, this data demonstrates clearly that brand reputation is not simply about media exposure. Jimin proves that authentic emotional connection, consistent character, and high-quality music can outperform even the most aggressive promotional strategy in the game. Third, and this is the most fascinating point, Jimin's domination is happening in an era where new generations of K-pop idols are continuously emerging. Every month brings a new group debuting, a new star rising. But Jimin remains at the top. That is real, concrete proof of longevity. The kind of lasting power that every artist in this industry dreams of, but few ever achieve. And as industry commentators have observed, the brand reputation index is increasingly becoming a critical indicator of a K-pop idol's influence beyond just music. It directly impacts endorsement contracts, collaboration opportunities, and even projects outside the music industry entirely, including acting, hosting, and brand ambassador roles. It comes as no surprise then that Jimin recently became the global ambassador for Later, the prestigious Korean hair care label. That is the kind of premium endorsement that countless artists are competing for, and it went to Jimin. Naturally, the news of Jimin defending his number one position was met with absolute euphoria by the worldwide ARMY community. On the platform X, hashtags like #Jimin55 which translates to Jimin 55 months number one brand reputation, and Kapsangya, meaning our Jimin is number one again, along with dozens of other celebratory tags, immediately exploded into trending territory across Korea and many other countries. Fans expressed their feelings in deeply moving and diverse ways. One commentator put it perfectly: this is not just about a chart. This is proof that when you are authentic, when you genuinely care about your work and about the people around you, the world will recognize it. That is a remarkably accurate observation. Meanwhile, the broader K-pop community, even those who are not BTS or Jimin fans, acknowledged this achievement. Many described it as one of the longest and most consistent dominations ever recorded in the history of the K-pop brand reputation ranking. And Korean netizens themselves had plenty to say about just how exclusive Jimin's position has become. As one person wrote, "Jimin is already in a category of his own. He's no longer competing with anyone else. He's competing with his own records. Now comes the big question that is on everyone's mind. What is next for Jimin? Based on various reports, Jimin is expected to complete his mandatory military service around mid-2026. And there are already hints circulating that have ARMY absolutely buzzing with excitement. HYBE, the label under which BTS operates, has dropped clues that solo projects and potentially a global fan meetup are already in the planning stages to welcome Jimin back from military service. Think about what that means. If Jimin was already dominating the brand reputation rankings without any active promotion, what is going to happen when he comes back in full force? Beyond his solo plans, there is also a very real possibility that BTS as a group will begin moving collectively again in 2026, as several other members are also set to complete their military service around the same period. A BTS reunion, which millions of fans around the world have been waiting and hoping for, appears to be closer than ever before. And if there is one thing that all of this data has proven beyond any possible doubt, it is simply this: Jimin is going to come back stronger than ever. So there you have it, the complete story behind the news of BTS's Jimin defending first place in the brand reputation rankings for 3 consecutive months, and so much more than that. This is the story of an artist who has built his legacy not only through extraordinary music, but through authentic character, a genuine and irreplaceable connection with his fans, and a level of consistency that never wavers, not even under the most challenging of circumstances. 55 months at number 1. 35 consecutive months. A record that has never been held by anyone before, and one that shows absolutely no signs of stopping. Park Jimin, you truly are a category of your very own. For everyone watching this channel for the first time, make sure you hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. We are always here with the latest K-pop news, deep dive analysis, and everything you need from the world of BTS and ARMY. If you are an ARMY or a Jimin fan, drop in the comments right now. Jimin forever number 1. Let's see who gets there first. And if you have questions or a topic you want us to cover in the next video, write that in the comments too. See you in the next one. And remember, your support means absolutely everything. Annyeong. Waving hand purple heart.